Bulldog fans, welcome to another episode of the Terry Sanford Coaches Report. I'm your host, Coach Jeff Morehead, and with me as always, Coach Bruce McClelland. Coach, 1-0 in conference. That's a great way to start conference play.
Yes, felt like with all the homecoming activities, which I'm sure we're going to talk about, just felt like the guys were locked in, and man, we really, started the game fast and finished the half really, really well and got everybody in. That was great.
We're here after a 48-8 win last Friday night against Purnell Sweat again to start 1-0 in conference play. Winning conference is the first goal a team has for the season because that sets up so much come playoff time and all that. Also, shout out to our JV team. Set the tone on Thursday night with a 34-28 win down at Purnell Sweat, a game where there was a little bit of everything, Coach. You had to be there a little bit to see all that and everything. But anyway, talking about homecoming, just the crowd. It was another awesome atmosphere at Bill Yeager Field at Armstrong Stadium, just setting the tone for the guys to really come out and start the game fast. Yeah,
I really thought the atmosphere was awesome. Had those guys in from the 85 Eastern Regional Championship team, guys went to state championship. Many of those guys that I played with, so really had, enjoyed having those guys in. And they even had great feedback. They were just talking about, man, how things have changed and how the program's grown and how the love for the Bulldogs is just kind of, and, I told them it was a direct, it was a direct contributor. They were contributors to that many years ago. Everything that I saw in the family atmosphere of that team, we've built with this team.
Yeah, the past players, I had one of my former linebackers who I saw in warm-ups, Walker Cooney, and I had him come over to the pregame huddle with the guys when we did our individual drills. And cool. I told my guys, you're playing for your teammates right now, but you're also playing for past players. The legacy that they helped start, the winning culture that they helped start, you want to carry that on as time goes on. A quick start for the team. Defense, which had a pretty solid night overall, forced a 3-and-out, then a pretty electric punt return for Sebastian O'Keefe to get things going for the guys.
Yeah, I felt like Bassey just kind of is that spark plug, you know what I mean? And I felt like when we went 3-and-out, it was a big uplift, and I felt like the guys, just kind of could feel something was coming, and everybody blocking on that play. Blocking was great, and when he hits that gap, he's gone, man. It was a big start.
There's just something about a momentum play, like an interception, a pick six, a punt return. That's just a different – it's a touchdown, but that's a different feel.
You hit it right in the head. You just kind of feel the sideline kind of get up and say, hey, this is going to be a special night when something like that happens. All three phases are so important, and when he did that, you just felt like it was going to be a big night.
One of the themes all year has just been the weapons that we have on offense. And when you have Jordan Browning with the touchdown, Gavin Kraut with a touchdown, Jacob a touchdown, Zay Washington 2, John Muir Hayes, 5 different guys on offense scoring touchdowns. I mean, that's hard to prep for a defense coach.
Yeah, it really is. It's we had James on tonight, Parker, the offensive line. You talk about being statless, don't really get the stats, and you see these guys get the stats. They love it when multiple people are scoring, and we as a coaching staff love it. It's hard to prepare for a team. You guys are as good as there is at it, and it's hard to prepare for a team when you've got that many weapons and you spread the football around that much. It should just make us better going into the tougher games.
We talked about this last week. One of the goals that I had, and I'm talking with Coach Cadez, Coach Bobby, Coach Rich, that we had was just no big plays or maybe one or two, not the 4 or 5 we've had in previous games. And I want to say that their biggest play Friday was a 15-yard holding penalty. But other than that, just offensively, Purnell Sweat didn't have that great of a night, and I'm really proud of how the guys responded after giving up some big plays earlier in the season.
Yes, and, that's been a key. But, we moved those pieces around in the preseason and, in the early part of the schedule to find out that great combination. I really feel like, we've even got some subs because we're playing both ways that can get in there and fill in. And I like the way that we played multiple people, and they responded, just like you said. It wasn't just the starters, but those guys we plugged in responded because they held them to that standard.
A big lead for us, which is something that's happened multiple times this year. Yes. A big lead at halftime, a running clock in the second half. It allows you to get guys off the field. Again, You escaped the game injury-free, which at this point in the year is the goal, Coach.
Huge. The first thing a lot of people ask me is, did you come out of it great? Came out of it very well, despite getting those plays in. Getting a bunch of plays in by multiple players, and Jamir Hayes scoring. Yeah, he's tough. He does our scout teams. He is is as big a piece of Bulldog football as anybody out there. To see him score in the sideline of Rupp, it felt good for everybody.
Yeah, scout team guys they are so important to your team's success on Friday. They replicate the offense and defense of the team that we're facing on Friday. A lot of our guys have embraced that role this year, Coach. Just how the importance of a good scout team.
It's imperative. Jamir plays the scout team running back. He'll go over here and play defense, special teams. He's always the first one to jump up, and those players are invaluable to give you a look, to get prepared for what you're going to see on Friday night. Just can't say enough about the guys that, who are the next ones up as well. How well they do in practice and give us a great look.
Just offensively, Sweat only had 135 total yards offense. We had multiple 3-and-outs. We had, an interception by Prince White. Yep. Multiple turnover on downs, like I said, just no big plays, just momentum going into a big game this week versus Scotland, Coach.
I thought it was a complete performance, on that side of the ball. We ran to the football, multiple people around every ball carrier, anybody that caught a pass. We put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And, and there were several balls that could have been, picked off. I thought we did as good a job as we've done all year.
Just a great end to homecoming week. Shout out to our the homecoming court. Shout out to SGA and Miss Jen White, who did a great job last week. We had her on the radio show. They do so much. Shout out to our junior class that won Powder Puff last night to kind of end homecoming week. Coach, when we come back from the break, we'll have our 2 players of the week. Junior center James Parker and sophomore defensive end Caden Womack. We will be back to talk to those players after these messages. Welcome back to the Terry Sanford Coaches Report. Coach Mack, our first player of the week.
My pleasure, Coach. Is junior offensive lineman center James Parker. Welcome to the show.
James, welcome to the show, man. What do you like best about playing offensive line?
The brotherhood. Being with your brothers, hitting people. I love it.
When you say the term brothers, we have talked about this earlier in the year, Coach. Just the chemistry that's needed for the offensive line.
Yeah, and we were getting all these new starters, man, this year on the line. We graduated all 5 of them, and it was a big concern for us. Major focus for us. But I really, from the beginning, really liked this group. They're just unselfish, hardworking. Nobody cares who gets the credit up there, and James is the epitome of that at the center position. Really feel like they pull for each other, and they've become one unit, and that's what you need on the offensive line. So I'm really, really, really excited about those guys.
Yeah, graduating 5 seniors from last year's team. We talked about this in the first show of the year, how the offensive line was a big question mark, maybe the biggest one for the team this year. Coach James, we're about a little more than halfway through the season. Just how do you think the offensive line has played so far this year?
We played pretty good. We could always do better, but we just got to keep working, get better each day.
Well, we're playing. If you look at the numbers, we're playing great offensively. Averaging 45 points a game. really, scoring at least 40 in every game this year. Just how much better can the offensive line get, in your opinion?
We can get a lot better, a lot more physical, a lot bigger, stronger, faster, everything.
Coach, if anybody's watching, when they hear a team averaging 45 points a game can get better, how's that going to make other teams feel?
Well, we've got the athletes, and you see it on film, but I really think the progression of the line, moving James to center, I feel like was a big key. He's big, physical, but he's also mobile. I think that goes unnoticed with our line. They're big guys, but they're mobile, man. And I like the way when we had him week one, the pulling aspect of being able to snap the ball with your center and then pull the guys and get out in front of these athletes, man. The sky's the limit.
Yeah, when you say that, I'm a defensive coach, we don't see the center pulling a lot. They just snap the ball, and the center is the player that touches the ball the most.
Yes.
The play starts with them, and that's really important. The snap is so important to the play. You mentioned this a few seconds ago, James, just the chemistry of the O-line. Are you guys pretty tight on and off the field?
Oh, yeah, on and off the field. We go to Waffle House every Sunday, everything.
Coach, I'm kind of nervous about what that plate of food at Waffle House might look like with those guys.
Man, I tell you what, I know the Waffle House manager he's happy because when they get that bill, but I'm sure there's a couple of slabs of extra bacon and everything. I might have to go with them on Sunday. That sounds good, but those guys can. We had them at the Buddy Bulldogs, so those guys can certainly eat, and we have no problem with them getting bigger.
Absolutely, James. Any individual or team goals for the year?
Team goals: win conference. Go to state, win state, and individual, just be a dominant player.
There you go. The thing about offensive line is there really are no stats for them individually. I know Coach Toller and the guys keep up with yards per game, and a goal is to get so many yards a game. I think it's 100, maybe 200. Pancake blocks and all that. Yes. Just the O-line is just kind of the unsung heroes of the team.
It really is, and that's why, it's a pleasure to have somebody like James on today who's worked so hard, both individually and with that group as a unit. We talk about it all the time. The offensive line needs to be that unit, and they're just so unselfish. So I think they're the perfect group to not have a stat to have to worry about, because they don't worry about stats. They just worry about doing their job every play and winning football games, and it's been a perfect recipe so far.
We talked about the big question mark was the O-line. If my memory is good, all the guys are back next year.
Yes.
And so that's a huge plus for the team going forward once we get through this season. All right, you mentioned conference championship is a goal. Always great to start 1-0 in conference play.
Yes.
James, what does this team have to do Friday to beat Scotland County?
We just got to do our job, play physical, play hard, just hustle the ball.
There you go. Just do our jobs, which is kind of play to our standard, Coach.
Yeah, and it's great. It's so simple with those guys. It's a next play mentality, assignment. Know your assignment and know their alignment, and they've done a great job. One of the big keys to our season this year is definitely the offensive line.
All right, James, any favorite players or favorite teams you have?
Gronk. I love Gronk.
They all want to catch the ball.
Yep. Man, the greatest tight end of all time, maybe.
Yeah. Got my vote. Kelsey's good, but I would go with Gronk too.
Were you a Patriots fan or a Bucs fan or just a Gronk fan?
Gronk, and I like the Bucs a little bit.
Well, they're having a great year. I know the Gronk and Brady won a Super Bowl down there. James, looking forward to seeing you in the offensive line get better and better each week. That's just better for us. That's great for our football team. We're back with our second player after these messages.
Hey everyone, this is Brian Moore, your Athletic Booster Club president here at Terry Sanford. Just asking you to please go to thecoachesreport.com and subscribe to our amazing, one of the only high school podcasts in the country. So we'd appreciate if you would go support and share and see all the information coming up in the weeks forward and the past game. We really appreciate it, and go Dogs.
Welcome back to the Terry Sanford Coaches Report. Coach Mack, our second player of the week.
Yes, sir. He is sophomore Caden Womack. Welcome to the show.
Caden, welcome to the show, man. Sophomore who has started every game for us this year on the defensive line, playing some defensive end.
Love that.
Caden, what do you like most about playing D end for us?
What I like the most, being physical, the contact, just being able to rush the passer,
Yep.
I love when defensive guys, especially, say, be physical, Coach.
Yes, the defense, that's the moniker you want. I like his combination of speed, and we've told Caden, if you're physical, you're a different player. You're at a different level than guys that we've had in the past. So his physical play is also one of the big things that have got us off to a fast start this year.
Watching Caden last year as a freshman, the coaches talk while we're watching JV practice, JV games,
Yes.
and we just saw a ton of potential with him, what he might, project into as the years go by. And he, again, starting
said.
as a sophomore is a huge accomplishment in a program like ours that has won a lot of games over the years. How do you think the defense has played so far this year, Caden?
I feel like we played great. We just made a couple mistakes that we got to pick up. And, yeah.
We've got to pick these things up and get better because the details matter as the games get bigger, Coach.
Yeah, and we're big on we've got a great senior leader, class of leaders. But Caden, I told him, you're a leader too. You have to lead by the way you play. It's like you said, it's a big honor for a sophomore to play on, in our program because we've been so successful. We have so many talented coaches that have coached up these athletes. But Caden can be a leader and has been, especially the last 2 or 3 games with how well he's played and how hard he's played.
Do you have any plays that sort of stand out to you so far this season, Caden?
Probably my sack versus Smith. That's about it.
D ends are known for pass rushing.
Yes.
Sacking the quarterback. Sometimes they cause the quarterback to get rid of the ball a little earlier than they want to. So hurries are a big part of that defensive end play too, Coach.
Yeah, and I think he's spot on with the Smith game. I saw a different, me and Caden talk, him being in your class right across the hallway and just saying, hey, look, you're not just a player on this team. You're one of the better players. It doesn't matter if you're a senior or sophomore, whatever it is. You need to play to your ability, and just thought that he could give us a little more and let him know that we had that confidence in him. And I really saw a difference in the Smith game. Stats don't always tell the story, but he was in the backfield constantly. It helps other people make plays. Your linebacking unit, Zay and Gavin, 2 of our studs at the safety level. So Caden's picked up his play and has really helped us on defense.
As a defensive player, sometimes you don't want to have high tackle numbers, which means you're on the field a lot as a defense, which is something defense, you don't want to be on the field too much.
That's a great
The
point.
way that sometimes defenses work is that players on the field cause other players to get tackles. Defensive end may cause the runner to go outside more, which lets a linebacker or a safety make a tackle. So Caden does his job in a lot more ways than the numbers may appear to be stat-wise.
Great point.
Any individual or team goals for the year?
Team goals, just to run it up, win conference, make it to states, and then individual goals, get about 3 more sacks.
There you go. Hopefully, maybe more than 3, but It's good that you have a number, and it's always good to have goals that you're trying to get to. But Coach, when you hear seniors, juniors, and sophomores all say conference championships, state playoff games.
Yeah, we don't have many goals. We don't put a big board up there, and certainly no one team is our goal. We feel like it's the program's more established and bigger than that now. We want the conference championship because it allows us, and that high RPI, that allows us to have home playoff games. We feel like that's our best method of making the state championship. So I love what he said, and we're going to adjust that 3-sack thing. We'll let him get to 3 sacks, and then we'll pump it on up. He's his talent is to the roof.
The last few games, our defense and a lot of our guys have not been on the field much in the second half because of the scores, and we'll talk about that once we preview the teams that we've played against the past couple of weeks. All right, Caden, any favorite players or favorite teams that you have?
Favorite player, probably Nick Bosa. I don't really have a favorite team.
You just you watch those guys, you try to emulate their moves and what they do, in practice and games and so on. Caden, appreciate you coming on, man. Looking forward to your growth over the course of the season. We're back after these messages.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Coach Mack, we're back from our final timeout, and we are on to Scotland Friday night, our second
big one
conference game. Just a real quick recap of conference play this week. Cape Fear is at Purnell Sweat. Grays Creek is at Lumberton. We go down to Scotland. Coach, the past few years, this has turned into quite a little rivalry. The last 4 games between us and Scotland have all been decided by less than 5 points.
Yeah, 2 well-coached teams. You know, we have a lot of respect for Coach Bailey and Richard Bailey and their staff. It's just 2 well-coached teams, great athletes that are making plays, and I think, you know, we bring out the best in them, and they certainly have brought out the best in us.
Yeah, we go down to Scotland. Just some classic games over the year, fully anticipating a great game on Friday night. Scotland is 4-2 on the year with wins over Dillon, a rival down in South Carolina for them. Overhill's a team that we know well.
Yes,
Ashley, and then they started conference playoff last week with a big win at Grays Creek. Losses to 2 old conference rivals for them. Richmond, it's still weird to see Richmond and Scotland play in week 2 like they did.
That's wild.
And then Pinecrest. So 4-2 on the year, 1-0 in conference play. Coach Bailey, who's someone that I know very well, he's actually the all-time winningest coach at 2 different schools now, going back to his time at Jack Britton, and he just surpassed that total down at Scotland this past season.
I saw that.
A lot of respect for him and his staff, including 2 former head coaches on the defensive staff, Coach Maurice Huey, formerly at Byrd, and Coach Metzger, who was the longtime head coach at Pinecrest. This is a very good coaching staff and a very well-coached team, Coach.
Yeah, it is. You know, we talk to the guys, and, you know, we're very honest with them. You know, one of our lines is, "I'll never lie to you." You know, we're going to give it to you straight. And it's going to come down to who wants it the most, who's the most physical team, who makes the most plays, and blocking and tackling. There's going to be no shell game here. You know, you'll be able to offense and defensive, you know, back and forth with formation stuff. But, you know, we know each other so well from playing so much the last couple of years, and even twice last year and in the playoffs. So we're going to it's going to come down to who wants it the most and what athletes make the most plays in space.
You know, our guys, it's a Pate Stadium down there is one of the better high school stadiums in North Carolina, but most of our guys played down there last year, a week 2 game. Went down there on Friday night, about to kick off. The bottom fell out. We came back down there on Saturday.
Rough.
Had a pretty rough first quarter, but after that, you know, if the game is 2nd through 4th quarter, we would have won that game. But unfortunately, it is not. Just the atmosphere down there is a great high school atmosphere. Offensively, there's no doubt in it. Scotland wants to run the football. The numbers don't lie this year. They're averaging 225 yards rushing per game. 70-yard passing. The offensive line is all juniors who've obviously been in their program the past few years. Coach, a big test for our run defense this week.
Yeah, it is. Our running back hit, and even the guys, all the running backs. That room is stacked. Those guys are really, really talented and can hit a home run at any time. So it'll be another great challenge for us on defense to stay in our gaps, play our assignments, and line up. I feel like last week we lined up quicker and correctly. I feel like that's going to be a major key, you know, us getting an early start and lining up correctly and stopping their running game.
Yeah, to me, they don't want to throw the ball at all. They want to throw the ball when they have to, and that's something that we stressed at practice on Monday, the importance
100%.
of winning first down against a running team. It makes the defense better because you can kind of predict, hey, it's 2nd and long, it's 3rd and long.
That's a great
point.
point.
Odds of a pass happening right here just increase. Just real quick about their defense, Coach.
Defense, very good athletes. Not as much size as they've had in the past, but the linebacker number 5, oh my gosh, he runs to the football extremely well. Just a typical Scotland team with a bunch of athletes on the back end to kind of top it off. But really impressed with the way they run to the football. Just watching them on film, you just see a typical Scotland defense.
Yep. It's a big game, conference game. This is a team that we could potentially see in the playoffs.
Yes.
They are 6A like us. JV's at home tomorrow night, 6:30 kickoff. We go to Scotland on Friday, 7 o'clock kickoff. It's less than an hour drive. We've had great crowds all year. We need all the Bulldog faithful down there on Friday night down in Laurinburg. Coach, big game week. That's always a fun feel at practice when the game's a little bit bigger, and they do each week going forward.
Yes, sir. I love it. I can't wait. It's Scotland week, and it's a big matchup. We can't wait to play the game.
And we'll see all you Bulldog fans down in Laurinburg on Friday night. Go Dogs.